Welcome to this episode of Primetime Makeover. Now, we're going to do things a little bit differently today. First, you'll notice that Lysandra is not here. She's somewhere preaching and helping people get healed. And so we're going to pray for her and getting their all their minds right. So you all are going to be blessed if Lysandra is with you all this weekend. But we three here are here, and we are talking about the celebration of Resurrection Sunday. Now, we know that as women of faith, this is the biggest event on our calendar, Resurrection Sunday, because if Jesus had not gotten up, all the other stuff would be for naught. So, we're going to talk about Resurrection Sunday, just a little bit of what our faith means to us, but then we're going to shift because some of us have been in the grave for too long, and we're going to talk about what resurrection looks like for you. So, as always, I want to introduce my amazing co-hosts, Sheila Jenkins,
Hey.
Melissa Jackson.
Hi.
So we're all here, and we're talking about Resurrection Sunday. So I'll start, because I got the mic.
Yes,
This
absolutely.
one. We all got mics. But
She got the mic.
But when we think about Resurrection Sunday, my mind goes back to Easter Sundays, what we called it growing up. And the most significant thing about that to me was every year I did an Easter speech. But I was a stutterer. But I never stuttered when I was doing an Easter speech. And so there is something about walking with the Lord and allowing Him to reveal you to you as you walk with Him. And so I think it is somewhat miraculous that I stuttered in school. I stuttered whenever I was under stress or under duress, in spite of being a smart kid. But getting up and giving those Easter speeches every year helped me to overcome that stuttering. And I am one of the people, I know I don't have a fear of speaking before crowds. I read a statistic somewhere that people are more afraid of public speaking than they are of dying. I don't have that fear.
Wow.
And so when we talk about Resurrection Sunday, Jesus rising from the dead overcame the fear that many of us have of dying. And we spend our lives protecting ourselves because of that fear. And so let's not, when we talk about Jesus, let's talk about how His resurrection impacts you and what you are ready to get up from today. What do you think, Pastor Sheila?
So, very well said, by the way.
Yes.
I have been thinking about this. And I know for a fact that there is something that I can go all the way back from when I was a young girl with the Easter speech. Oh, and I was really good at it. But also, I guess from the age of 7, I was in the Sunbeam Choir, the little kids. I was the lead singer.
Look at that.
And, you know, I remember the song, Lord, I want to be a Christian in my heart, in my heart. You know that
You
song?
gonna sing it? Yeah, I know.
Oh, I
You
can.
gonna sing it?
You want me to?
If you want to. You got the mic.
So, and I will tell you, I will sing it and then I will tell you the story.
Okay.
Lord, I want to be a Christian in my heart, in my heart. Lord, I want to be a Christian in my heart. And so,
Okay, Miss Sheila, you just gonna drop it like this?
no.
Wait a
You
minute.
didn't tell us you could actually sing.
I can actually
Yes.
sing, but I stopped singing because somebody who was very, very close to me told me that I couldn't. It shut me completely down. Now I know that I can, but a fear came over me like, do I really sound good? Can I really sing? And this person, like I said, was very close to me. It shut me down. Then I started to think, well, maybe I can. So I stopped singing. I sing around the house all the time. Every day I got a song. I always have a song.
Sheila,
and I sing it.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I got to hug you on the air.
Yes,
Look, thank
that
you
is
for
so
singing for us.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were going to do it. That's why I said
Because
it.
I love to sing. I wanted to
We
be Diana
sing.
Ross. I wanted to be Diana Ross when I was young. You know, I could go on and on and on about this stuff. How many times I've been shut down because I should be on Broadway somewhere. But how many times, because I can sing, I can dance, and I like to do it. I wasn't scared to do it, anything. But people can really speak a lack into your life.
Yes.
You know, and so I'm sitting here thinking, have I buried it? Am I still carrying it? And I think maybe I am. Because I'll do anything else, but I won't sing. Not like I used to in public.
Publicly.
And I came up singing Aretha Franklin, singing in the church. You know, and I grew up down south where we were outside all the time. And it was the three of us, me, Lorna, and Cynthia. I was Diana. Ain't no mountain high enough, Diana.
Nothing.
Ain't no mountain high enough, Diana. And so it's interesting that we're talking about resurrection. Jesus died, but he got up. So there are things that we need to let die so we can be resurrected in the things that God has called us to do. I know I was called to sing,
Wow.
but I don't sing.
Well, you sounded beautiful just a moment
Yes,
ago.
you did. Yes, you did. And so do you think
Wow.
you buried it?
I think that in this season, in the prime of life, yes. But I went through all of those younger years carrying it. But in the prime of life, you get rid of stuff. You bury stuff.
Yeah.
So I believe now, if somebody asked me to sing, I think I would do it.
I see you would.
I think I would do it. But it took a minute. It took a lot for me to get back there. I think what happened in my later years, especially with my new husband and all of that, I've gotten more encouragement. Like, oh, you sound so good. And, you know, he wants me to sing for his family and all that. And so I do.
Wow.
And so I think now in the prime of my life, because, you know, when you get in the prime of your life, stuff just don't bother you as much anymore.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so I'm ready to be Diana Ross now.
I think you'll be better.
Here she
Yeah.
comes.
Here she goes.
Here she
Look,
comes. Are y'all
move. And you know what? I because we talk about the things that we need to bury, but there are some things that we buried because of what other people
Yes.
have done.
Yes.
So we-
Most times.
Yeah, most times.
Yeah.
Especially as impressionable young girls. And
Yes.
we're both talking about young girls. And so,
Wow.
Melissa, what are your thoughts on, now we talked about things that need to be buried. Some things have been buried. But what are your thoughts on resurrection and what it is that maybe needs to be buried?
Nobody ever regrets capturing a moment the right way. They only regret not capturing it at all. That's why here at Flawless Focus Digital Media, we focus on making memories last forever. Whether it be a milestone birthday, a prom, a wedding, even a podcast. All the podcasts that you've seen for Primetime Makeover have been captured by me and my company, and we're looking forward to many more episodes as well. Feel free to visit us at flawlessfocusdigitalmedia.com. Submit your information for an inquiry call, and we can go from there. I look forward to working with you. Now back to the show.
First of all, I'm not giving y'all no song. Miss Sheila just took us out, okay? That was awesome. But no, to what Elder Michelle is asking, you know what? Every year for Easter, when I was coming up as a little girl, I think it was all about looking cute. This is like, if no other Sunday, you better not come to church looking like nothing else but beautiful before God. But as I began to mature, resurrection was always a reminder that I didn't have to die with something that I knew that God could resurrect, or that God had given me so that it can bless others, or so that it can bless me, or so that I can live and enjoy life with it. So when I think about resurrection, it's always a reminder of the sacrifice, but because of the sacrifice, you don't have to die with it.
You don't have to die with it. And I'm going to ask a question that's uncomfortable because for me to ask, but I know that you're somebody who was a widow at
Yes.
one point. Did you ever because I've heard people who've lost their spouses. It was like, oh, I just wish I could just die now. I want to go with him. Or did you ever feel like that?
I had a moment that I probably wouldn't say I was trying to go with him, but after losing him, I was like, okay, God, this is too much. So, not essentially wanting to go with him, but yeah, like I remember getting off the train one day and I'm driving home, coming down the street, and I just wanted to call my mom and say, I've done well, I've done well, but this was unexpected. There's no rules, there's no handbook, there's nothing. And just take care of the kids. And I was just going to keep driving until I couldn't drive. I was literally like, this is too much. And I think it just took a moment for me to realize and understand, going back to what you said, the sacrifice of Jesus and all of these things, he knew these things were going to come. He knew these things were going to happen. And I think it was more about me sacrificing, this may sound crazy, but sacrificing my emotions in that moment to not be so selfish, to realize you're not just living for you. And regardless if your husband was here or he's gone, you still have a responsibility. You have a relationship, a covenant to your father, and a relationship to your children.
Melissa, when my husband died, maybe a month or two in, I remember being in bed, because I couldn't sleep in the bed at first. And then I was in a fetal position. And I said to God, you might as well take me too. I heard, just like I'm hearing your voices right now, it's not your time. Get up and get yourself together. Because if I take you, then your son has no parents.
Absolutely.
But I did think about that. I did ask the Lord to take me.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I was married 30 years. I didn't know what to do with myself. How are you single after 30 years?
Absolutely.
And it was such a shock when he died.
Because it was sudden.
And I was going to say, it was a shock for me. And I think when you talk about what did you bury, I think for a moment I just started burying not living the life that God wanted me to. Like existing, literally.
So you started burying life while you existed.
Right.
Yes.
Like taking care, okay, go to work, because we all got to have somewhere to live. I mean, I could have went to my mama's house, but I just wanted to make sure my kids knew that I loved them enough to do that. But I felt like everything else was just like, okay, where's Tuesday? Okay, where's when? It's like I'm not even trying to plan and do it. And then people will make comments like, I know people in your DMs, and believe it or not, people a lot of times think that when you become a widow, everyone's going to come and want to, and I didn't get all of that. And that even kind of bothered me for a moment. Not that I wanted it, but you're so used to hearing that. And then one of my relatives told me at one time, she said, Melissa, when you hear of situations like that, it's not always looked at as a good thing, because when you've been taken care of so well, everyone is not going to approach you, because they're also trying to keep in mind, can they do what's already be done and then keep doing it or do it better? And I was like, because sometimes when you become a widow, it can make you feel like, am I good enough? Like God, it's just a lot of questions. A lot of questions you have when you go through something like that, because everything comes to mind.
It does.
Like out of all the people I see, out of all the things I know, why would you take, and let me be very honest with you, Elder, like, even if my husband was one that wasn't being faithful and being committed, sometimes people be like, oh, okay, Lord, he wasn't even, but he was a committed and devoted husband and father, like, to the point people will talk about him years later, even after all of that. So those are all the thoughts you have, like, and so I started burying life, not wanting to do much. And to be honest with you, I just started living for the kids. I wasn't really living for myself. I just wanted to make sure they were happy, because now they only have one parent. So it's like whatever I needed to do to make sure they could enjoy life, they would appreciate life, I did that for them. And then eventually God started resurrecting other things. And so what was my pain literally became my purpose. Literally became my purpose.
That's good.
So I'm thinking about what you both said. I don't have experience in that area, but you all talked about the emotions that were involved in losing your spouse like that. And you, Melissa, talked about burying your emotions just so you can exist. You, Sheila, talked about, well, you may as well take me too. And both finding reasons to keep going. And your children.
Yes.
But did you resurrect your own emotions? When did that happen? Or, because I know you're not living for your children now.
Well, I've been delivered. No, no, but I think for me it just came over the course of time. I would say, actually, I'm glad you brought that up because it's making me think even more. When COVID came, I had such a bad experience because I hadn't really grieved. Because after my late husband graduated, I really never say he died, he graduated. Allowed me to really have to sit, and I couldn't really sit long and deal with the emotions because I just got laid off the year before. So I was working, but I was working a contract, contracted with a job. So at any given moment, you can go in and they'll be like, this is it. Our youngest daughter had just had surgery. And so when I was at home, I was literally trying to cope with everything. And I realized because I hadn't grieved COVID and everything else, it was like trauma on top of trauma. Yeah. So for a moment, well, not even for a moment, for months, as we all know, I had to sit and deal with my emotions to the point that the anxiety was so much, I lost like 35 pounds. I wasn't eating again because I never really took the time to grieve. And not to say that I didn't have time, I was just so focused on the outcome. Yeah. So one thing that I needed to bury was trying to control the outcome. That thing had me going in circles literally, to the point I wasn't eating, ladies. I was just living for them. And it was almost like all of a sudden one morning I got up and I was listening to message after message, and the Lord, it was like the Lord just took a defibrillator and was like, girl, come on, like this is it. You're not about to keep doing this. And then after that, I just started seeing myself wanting to do more, having more conversations, because even to the point my children started noticing.
Really?
Yeah, they'll be like, Mom, are you okay? And it wasn't an enjoyable experience. So that's why one thing I say now when I say pain into purpose is me telling people you have to grieve. Like, don't feel ashamed. Don't feel guilty for how long you do it, when you do it, how you do it. Just acknowledge. And I had a saying when I would always say, own the moment, but don't let the moment own you.
What's the saying? Bars? I'm learning all this new terminology. Bars and clock.
She did it. We're already resurrected.
You got it. Yes, you got it.
We're already resurrected. Michelle said bars. Okay, we're good.
And so when we're talking about resurrection, particularly in this area of emotions, and you said I needed to bury. Tell me again what you needed to bury, Melissa.
Oh, controlling the outcome.
Controlling the outcome. And so for a lot of us, if things don't go the way we have, oh my goodness, I went through a whole process with my credentialing. I had to tell you all about that offline. But controlling the process, I wanted things to go da-da-da-da-da-da. And there are a lot of things that are outside of our control. And so being able to bury this need to control, those saboteurs, some of us are, we avoid things. We need to bury behaviors that keep us from moving forward. Yes. And so when we think about the resurrection, we talked about what is it that you might be carrying? What is it that you need to bury? But then this last part, in the resurrection account, Jesus' clothes were left in the tomb, those burial clothes. And so I want to talk about how you're showing up. We can talk about, as we wrap clothes, how are you showing up? Are you wearing grave clothes? And I'm imagining if Melissa had, and Sheila, that's right, if both of them had buried their grief, but they were still walking around in widow's garb, veils, black veils, and long black dresses, and, undone faces because we're mourning, that's a mixed message.
Yes.
Have you buried it? And if you have buried it, why are you still wearing the clothes? What kinds of clothes are you wearing that might point to something you need to bury? Something that's dead, long gone, but you're still, it could be unforgiveness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shame.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
See?
And the guilt, because believe it or not, I started feeling guilty for what the Lord did.
Yeah, me too. I was definitely guilty.
Wow.
I was so guilty. I felt bad for my son.
Mm-hmm.
And that guilt was really trying to overtake
Yes.
me. I felt guilty.
Yes, I concur.
I
And
did.
this was
That's like-
so out of
Yeah.
your
It
control.
was so out of my control. But I tried to control it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I tried to do something.
Yeah.
I tried to make him better, make my son feel better. I did everything
Oh,
to
yes.
try to make him feel better, to try to be his daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take on that extra
Yes,
role.
take that on.
Yes.
So that's a heavy outfit to wear.
Yeah.
It is.
Somebody
It
else's
is.
responsibility.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had to take that garment off.
You had to take that garment
take it
off.
And I realized that even in me trying to do exactly that, that trusting God was to know, Melissa, you can't, and I don't, I know we have this, I guess, cliche where, you can be mama and daddy.
You can't.
You don't even have the capacity. I don't want it, absolutely. But in trying to do that for a moment or thinking you were
Yes.
going to make your children not feel the absence,
Yes.
it would literally drive you crazy because essentially what I started trying to do was control the outcome by being God, by saying, well, I know he took them, but I'm still going to make it seem like he exists in these ways. And you overspend. You over everything.
You
I can go
over
down the
everything.
list. You
Yes,
do over
absolutely.
everything. Some stuff you be like, did they really need? And sometimes the kids will be like, oh, Mom, I'm like, no, because you've never had it. And it'll be nice. And I start realizing that when you try to be God and control outcomes, it will literally exhaust you.
Yes.
Wow.
Mentally,
Yes.
emotionally, spiritually.
Yeah. I wore myself out.
Yeah.
My son got married the year before my husband died.
Okay.
So after he
Wow.
died, I'm taking my son and his new wife out to dinner and he's like, Mom, you keep your money. We don't need your money. We don't need you to do this. But I was trying to overcompensate for his dad, and I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wore me out.
Yeah. And so what are you overcompensating for?
That's good.
Because a lot of times we take on other people's stuff.
Burdens.
If you have, and I'm just going to put this right here for whoever it's for. If you have grown up in an abusive household, you can become hypervigilant, where you start being overprotective of siblings and you become a surrogate parent. What clothes are you wearing
That's good.
that don't belong to you, that don't fit you? We're going to call those things grave clothes today.
Yes.
Because whatever you buried, you need to put those clothes in the same place where
Yes.
you buried it. Put them in the grave
That's
too.
good.
And so as we end, we haven't gotten the sign from our producer yet, so we could keep talking.
Oh,
But
it's coming. It's coming. You're going to keep us on point.
but at what point? I would like for you all to share some words of resurrection for the woman who is in the prime of her life who might be looking here today. Who wants to start?
I would say one thing I always tell women when I'm speaking, and one of the last things I say after we wrap up is, be kind to yourself and remember that everything, we hear it a lot, but everything does serves a purpose. And if you keep trying to wear clothes, versions of yourself, be in seasons of things that have passed, you will miss the opportunity to really live a life of abundance, because it's a danger to keep wearing clothes, meaning another identity of yourself or another version or a season where God no longer exists. So there's some grace that he'll grace you for. But when you keep trying to show up and be the woman in a moment or in a season where he isn't, then you're pretty much trying to do everything on your own. So live the life that he promised, but also be kind to yourself. And remember, these things will happen. But the Bible says for everything that happens, there's a way out and there's an escape. So he will not weaponize you with your pain.
That's really good.
You got this.
Yes.
Keep living.
Yes.
Wow. Pastor Sheila?
So everything is a process. As Melissa said, be kind to yourself. If you're going through some grief or some trauma, take your time. Don't rush it. I tried to rush to heal. I tried to hurry up
Keep
and
busy.
heal. And it didn't happen that way, because a week after my husband died, my youngest sister died. So we had 2 funerals in 2 weeks. And so more grief on top of that. So instead of rushing, I had to take a step back and be gentle and kind with myself and said, okay, I've got to see this thing through. But I could only see it through the eyes of God.
Yeah.
I had to allow God to work in me. I had to release, let it go, and go through the process. Grief is a process.
Yes, it
And so
is.
take your time, whatever you're going through, take your time and see it through. And God will
Yes.
work it out for you.
Yes.
He always will.
Amen. And we've heard the unique perspective of two women who lost their spouses suddenly. But grief is not just reserved for the loss of a spouse.
That's right.
There are, at last count, 300,000, 400,000 women who have lost their jobs. And tied up in our jobs are often our identity.
That's right.
Yes.
You may be wondering, who am I now? I don't know what to bury. I don't know what to resurrect.
That's good.
And then as we come into the prime of our lives, we get older. That's not to say, if you look at the last broadcast, Sheila and Dr. Hopkins told us we do not have to be in pain, but we do have to accept, as Melissa said, the changing versions of ourselves. Your identity is still sealed in Christ.
Yes.
So, because a job is gone and you might be grieving that, you may be grieving the loss of a significant relationship. I understand there's a trend now where children are going no contact with their parents. That sounds terribly grievous.
Oh my goodness.
But whatever you are grieving, you get to decide to trust God in the process. And I know that sounds like a cliche, but the truth is, you can't control.
You cannot.
It is not within your control.
You have no choice.
So you get
Don't
the
have the capacity.
opportunity to examine your life where you are now, not where you were 10 years ago or 20 years ago, where you are now and where I am, what needs to bury, what needs to be buried.
Yes.
But what do I need to go and resurrect? Because I tell people those little girl dreams that the Lord inserted when we were children, they get more insistent as we get older. A lot of them are tied to purpose. Do you need to resurrect some dreams? And finally, how are you showing up? Are you showing up in grave clothes of the angry, bitter person? Are you still wearing shame? Are you still wearing unforgiveness? There are some things that you can bury, just like we celebrate the birth, the resurrection of Jesus. We can celebrate your resurrection too.
Absolutely.
So I want to remind you that you have been anointed to do something great and that you are loved. We'll see you next time. Thank you, my friends.
We love you.
I love y'all.